Yes, good evening students. So welcome to Snipper Defense Academy. So today we are going to see verbs. In the yesterday previous classes, we had seen what is sentences, what are the types of sentences available, and how to identify the subjects and how to identify the predicates. And today in this class, we are going to study about the verbs. What is verbs? Okay, that is the main thing in English. You should know first of all what is verb, what the verb will do, and you can ask the question why we want to use verb. Okay, so that is the third question. So you can ask the question what is verb, so what is the use of verb, and why we want to use the verb. Okay, so verbs means what is verb? Generally I can say that, for example, so these are Serbian verbs. Okay, so today we are going to see the definition of verbs, and we are going to see the types of verbs which is available, and what is the use of verbs. That is the main thing. Okay, so why we want to use the verbs, okay, and where to use the verbs, okay, and how to use the verbs. During writing, how to use the verbs. During communicating with the strangers, with your friends, with your parents, with your cousin, with tumhara dost, how to communicate in terms of with verbs. Okay, so generally we can say that verbs will give some action. It will indicate the action, whether the action which will be takes place in terms of past tense or present tense or in the future present tense, past continuous tense. Okay, present tense, past tense or past continuous tense. Okay, so just we are going to see that. So how these verbs are very, very important. Without verbs you cannot able to form the sentences. It will be meaningless. Okay, even if you are speaking any language, if you are speaking Hindi, if you are speaking Malayalam, Tamil, Urdu, Rajasthani, Marwadi, whatever may be, any language if you are speaking, we have to use verbs. So verbs will say the action which will be takes place, how the action is going on, whether the action has been completed or the action is accumulated in the present tense, or whether the action is going to be takes place. Yeah, so that is the main thing about the verbs. Verbs means what you are going to say, we can easily understand. We say something, I am going to temple, so it shows that I am going to temple, so I am going now to temple. Okay, I am eating food, so I am taking food. So it will understand the entire action which will be takes place by the concerned subject. The subject may be he or she, okay, or whatever may be the subject, but the subject which is going to do some action which will be takes place from one to another. Okay, so without express any action either in the past or present or in the future, we cannot able to say what the sentence has been says, how it says, in what way it has been represented, how you can identify. So by reading the verbs, we can easily say that, oh, it's the content has been already completed yesterday, past tense, or the content which is given to you in the question or in the question paper will says that it is going to be takes place at present. At present means time being, now, at this time, at present, at now, it's going to be takes place. So it's going to be happen. Okay, so these things will becomes in the verbs, and it will clearly say what will be happen in the future. In future, what you are going to be. I will become a master in future. In future, I can say that you can become a master, you can become a hero, I will become a heroine, I will become a poet, I want to be a poet. Okay, so these things will say that. That is the main thing of the verbs. Okay, verbs will easily represent you what you are going to say, whether you are going to say about yesterday, today, or tomorrow. It will clearly shows that. Okay, so that is the reason we are using verbs in all the languages for the good flow of communication and good flow of understanding to the strangers. Okay, when you are speaking something to your friends, they should know how to understand what you are saying, whether you are saying that the work has been completed yesterday or today or tomorrow. So it will represent in terms of verbs. So that is a different action. Okay, so now we will see, so what are the verbs available and how we are going to identify the verbs, how we are going to determine, how we are going to find the verbs. Okay, we are going to see that. Okay, so the first one we can say that the verb forms. So what is verb? We have seen that what is verb. It will say some action. What is form? You can ask the question, what is form? Form means it's a type of sentences in terms of groups, a group. Okay, the verbs which will be accumulate in both the right hand side and left hand side. It is a different verb forms. Okay, so what the verb forms will say? So it will be represent in terms of, it is a specific way in which verb is shaped. It is a specific way. It will always have a particular way. Way means what? Direction. It will give you the best direction or exact direction. For example, I am going to cinema theater. So if you are going to the cinema theater, you need the direction. So how you are going to see the direction? By using Google Maps. So nowadays we are using Google Maps. Before 20 years, 30 years, how the people has been utilized to find out the way. They use the people, strangers, colleagues, friends to identify the direction, how to go to the cinema theater. I want to go to the temple. Okay, if you want to go to the temple, how to identify the way? You have to identify, you have to ask. Your action has been shown, but how to identify the specific way? It should be identified through someone. Okay, that's what they are saying, that with subject the action will be takes place. Here the verb form is said to be a specific way. It has a particular way. It has a specific way for good communication or good flow of English. Okay, without verbs, the sentences will be incomplete. That's what they are saying, that in which a verb is shaped. Okay, here the verbs are always shaped. So you can shape the verbs. What they are saying? You can shape the verbs, or you can modify the verbs. Okay, as you like, in terms of past tense, or in terms of present tense, or in terms of future tense. Okay, you can modify as you like. Whatever you like, based on the verbs, it will easily represent you what you are going to say. Yeah, so they are saying that the verbs can be shaped as you like. You can shape the verbs, and you can modify You can modify means you can, it's also similar. Okay, you can, slight changes will be takes place, modification to suit the context of their sentences. So based on the sentences, you can shape the verbs or you can modify the verbs and it will be in a specific way or particular way. That is the first thing they are saying. The first point it says. The second point says the forms of verbs are often considered to be a fundamental elements of the English language. So here they are saying that what type of language we are using here? English. Okay. So English is the language we are using here, and in this English language, the verbs are the elements. What type of elements? They are the basic elements. They are the fundamental elements. Okay, without these verbs, you cannot able to form any type of sentences. Okay, so they are saying that these are the fundamental things to shape it, to modify it based on the sentences or based on the action which will be takes place. Okay. Third point, they are saying that without verb forms, there is no verb forms. For example, there is no verbs in the sentences. Then what happened? Everything in the English language would seems to be obtuse. It's insensitive. No, it's no sense, no meaning. It's meaningless, meaningful. It's waste. The sentence has been given to you and it has no meaning. You are not able to understand the meaning, whether it comes in terms of present tense or past continuous tense, whatever may be. Okay, but sentence is available. Okay. For example, I had given some food for you to eat it. Yeah, but you do not know how they make it, when they make it, whether it's make yesterday or today or what happened, whether it's hot or not. You can't able to identify that. Okay, that's why they are saying that verb is like this. Without verbs, verb is like a salt in the food. Okay, verb is like a salt. Without salt, you can't able to eat the food. So same like that. Without verbs, you cannot communicate with any person, or in terms of strangers, or in terms of friends or colleagues or whoever it may be. Okay. And next point says that the main purpose of the forms of verbs is to indicate the timing of action or the tense of an action which will be takes place. The main purpose of the verbs. So why we are using these verbs? The question is why you are using these verbs. These verbs will always say the action. As I give introduction about verbs, I say that this verb is mainly used to give action. Okay, it is mainly used to give action. Okay, so for that purpose only we are using the verbs. Okay, so the main purpose of using the verbs during writing the sentences or during forming the sentences or during speaking the sentences with your friends or colleagues or whoever it may be, it will give the action or it will give the timings. It will say the timings. Okay. And the next one says that moreover, there are up to 5 forms of verbs. So how many kinds of verbs are available? 5 kinds of verbs are available. 5 types of verbs are available. So we are going to see one by one. Yeah. So the next section we are going to see in details. So what are the types of verbs available? Okay. So once again I am going to say that what is verb form? Okay, a group of words, a verb which will be accumulated in between the right object and the subject is said to be an verb forms. and it will always have a particular direction or particular way. Okay, for both communication or in written, which can be shaped as you like. You can shape the verbs, you can you can modify the sentences as you like, and you can shape it. Okay, and shape it based on the situation of the sentences. So what type of situation you like to say, whether you like to say about the present or past or future, whatever maybe, you can say it. And next we can say that they are the fundamental elements in English language. They are the basics of English. Without these fundamental elements, you cannot able to express any type of sentences in English. Not only in English language, any language if you take, verbs are very important to identify the actions. And we can say that, so English language, in English language, if there is no verbs, the sentences, whatever the sentence given to you, will be meaningless or insensitive. Okay. And third, we can say that these verbs will show the action. It will always show the action. It will always say the action, what you are going to do or what you did yesterday, today or tomorrow. Moreover, we are going to see 5 forms of verbs. So generally it will be expressed in terms of V1, verb 1, V2, V3, V4 and V5. So these are the 5 kinds of verbs or 5 types of verbs. So we are going to see one by one with some of the best examples. Okay. So how we are going to form the verbs? What type of verbs are available? Where to utilize that verb? In which place I can use this type of verbs? Okay, how to create it? How to shape it? Okay, how can I create my own sentences? How can I write a paragraphs? Okay, so these things we will see one by one. Okay, and the next slide says that there are 5 forms of verbs, I say to you, in English language. One is said to be an base form. What is this? Base form. Okay, see here. This is said to be an base form. Okay, so base form means it will be in the basic level. Okay, so sentences what is the base form generally, you can ask me. So the sentences which will give the complete action which will takes place, then it is said to be a base forms. First one is said to be a base form or base verb, we can say. The second one is said to be a past form. So what is past? It is similar to the past tense. It's already completed. The work has been completed. I completed my work. I eaten my food. I went to church yesterday. So like that, some of the words which has been done previously. That is, the previous action is to be an past verbs. What is that? The previous action is to be an past verbs. Third one is to be an past participate. What is past participate? Past participate means the past participate which is also similar to the past form. What is that? Past participate means which is also similar to the past form. Okay, which is also similar to the past form. So dono which will be remains same. Okay, so only the slight difference will be takes place. Small changes will be takes place. So we are going to see what small changes has been takes place. Okay, and you can identify easily when you are reading, when I am teaching some examples. you can identify easily how this past and past participate can be very based on a small type of action which will be takes place. Okay, so this is the past form and present form. Okay, so the both will be remain same. And next one is said to be an present participate. What is it? Present participate. So what is present? So present means generally we can say that now, at present, at this time, some action will be takes place. I'm taking class. I'm teaching for my students. I'm going to church. I'm going to temple. I'm going to visit my friends. I'm chatting with my parents. I'm talking in the phone. I'm talking in the phone. I'm speaking with my friends. My phone is ringing. Okay, so the light is blowing now. Light is blowing now. My board is white color. See, you see that at present, now the situation is takes place. My board is white color. So I'm writing in a black pen. I'm writing in a black pen or black marker. I'm using a pen. Okay. So these things becomes in terms of present participate. Okay. Or participle we can say. Okay. So the action which will be takes place now, at this time, at present, in this place, in your home, in your school, in your brother house, in your sister house, or in your friend house, some action will be takes place. Okay. It is said to be an present participle. It is said to be an present participle. And next one is said to be an singular. What is this? Third person, which will be represented in terms of singular. Okay, it is said to be an third person, which will represent in terms of singular. So generally we know that singulars and plurals. Okay, so we are going to see how these singulars will be expressed. So how we are going to identify this singular along with the verbs. So how to identify it? How to select the singulars and plurals? In what way? In what methodology? What steps? How to find out? How can I observe that? How can I read it? How can I expand it? How can I understood? So these things will be, we are going to see in this singular. Okay. So here, if you come back this once again, we will rewind it. Once again, I'm going to say that first one is said to be an base form, number one. Number two is said to be an past form. Okay. Next, next, 1 minute. So the first one is said to be in base form. 1 minute. Number two is said to be in past form. Number three is said to be in past participle form. Number four is said to be in present participle form. Number five is said to be a singular. What is that? 5 is said to be a singular. So these are the 5 forms we are going to study one by one with best example to understand easily, and it will touch your mind. So some of the examples we have to select which will touch your mind. If it touch your minds, you will never forget. What is that? You will never forget how to use the verbs. Okay. So as I said to you, I say that V1, what is V1, V2, V3. So here they are saying that V1 is said to be here V1 is said to be in base form, V2 is said to be in past form, V3 is said to be in past participle form, V4 is said to be in present participle form, V5 is said to be in singular form. So how many forms we have studied? We have studied V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. So these are the 5 types of forms available. These are the 5 types of forms available in verbs. Okay, in verbs. Okay, so what we are seeing, once again we will recollect it. Okay, so we are seeing that what is verb? What is verb? Verb will always say some action. The action will be represented in terms of past, present, future. So these 3 actions will be indicated only by the verbs. If there is no verbs, no action will be required. So you can understand anything. The sentence will be meaningless. Okay. So we have seen that what is verb. Verbs means some action will be takes place. Something is going to be happen. Something has been already takes place previously. Or something tomorrow is going to be happen. Something has been at present, something is going on. It will express in terms of verbs. So verb means action in 3 categories like present, past, future. Okay. So once you are going to write the sentences, you have to use the verbs. Once you are going to communicate the sentences, you have to use the verbs. Without verbs, the word sentences is meaningless, abused, senseless, insensitive. Insensitive means meaningless. Okay. And next, once again, we will revise it. Each and every verbs will have a specific way. They have their own path. They have their own direction. Okay. So you cannot be able to specify your own direction. They have their own direction. They have their own steps. You have to follow that steps. Then only you will get the sentences and you will be successful. Yeah. So in such a way, it has a specific way, and you can shape as you like. Any shape you can make it. Okay. Generally, we can say that shape means what? What are the shapes are available? Circle, rectangle, square. Okay. So in such a way, when you are speaking, when you are communicating, the shapes will be different. So these are the mathematical shapes. This is circle. This is rectangle. This is square. So don't think that shape. Shape means just we are going to shape it. So as I say that the verbs, we have seen that how to shape it, how to modify it, what are the fundamental elements of the verbs, and if there is no verbs, it's insensitive. And what are the types of verbs you have seen? We have seen the 5 types of verbs. You should understand that. First one is V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Whoever asks, you have to say this. What are the verbs available? Okay. So tomorrow I will ask you the questions. And today the class is enough. Okay. So thanks for watching this class. So try to communicate. Snipper Defense Academy. If you want to learn English in smarter way, the best way. Not only English, in all the subjects you can learn, and you will be a smarter person in all the subjects. Okay, in such a way, we will practice you, we will shape you. Okay, so good night to all my friends. Have a nice night.